Hello everyone, this will be a new form and a new type of video for me. Never did anything like this. So I will be showing you my screen and I will talk about volcanoes and what kind of stuff I needed to understand and learn to be able to decide when to try to go to Kona and try to witness a Kilauea eruption. Obviously, I still don't know if I will manage to see an eruption. Actually, one is about to happen now, but I will talk about it later. We can even check the live feed if it's happening now or not, or what's happening there, their live cams. But I'm hoping to catch the next one at least. So what do we need to know? First of all, about the Kilauea. It's a shield volcano found on the Big Island in Hawaii. It's over 200,000 years old and it's one of the most active volcanoes in the world. So here you have the island, and here in the Volcanoes National Park you find Kilauea. Okay, so it's on the southeastern part of the island, and as far as most videos go, as lava flows, lava entering the ocean, lava lake, burning houses and roads and things like that from Hawaii, most of them were from activities of Kilauea. So yes, it is a volcano where you can go and see lava since a long time ago. It has continuous eruptions for years, but what's happening now, these very high 300-meter plus high lava fountains are pretty unique. It's not that it didn't happen before, but it's not happening too often. And later on I will also tell a little bit about what's so special about this series of eruption episodes and why I decided to go. So now that we know more or less where the volcano is, we can look a little bit on the map. So this is the caldera, which is relatively new caldera, and the vents, the eruptions are happening, these big fountains over here. It's going to be very important to understand where the eruptions are happening and where the different overlooks are to see basically where I will be stationed and from where I'm hoping to see the volcano. Again, this will be a long video, so sorry if you're bored out of your mind. It's something I never tried before, but I want to share as much information as possible for those who are really interested in volcanoes, and that will help you understand what's happening in further videos when I'm there, when I'm mentioning things or referring to things. So it can be a good idea to watch the whole thing, maybe in parts if you don't have time now, but this will help to understand the next videos. And this is definitely for people who are interested in volcanoes, and not for volcanologists either, because I'm not one. I don't want to pretend that I'm a scientist or I know it all. Not at all. Most of these things 10 days ago I wasn't aware of, or I just heard about it, but I didn't know about them in detail. But obviously, as closer I got to my decision, I started to study things. I started to try to understand things to be able to make a decision. And then after I made the decision, even more. So let's jump into it. Where to look for information and what information can one find about the volcano? Obviously, USGS, US Geological Survey, they are responsible for volcanoes, science around volcanoes, observation, tracking, monitoring, and informing the people about volcanoes. So here what you see is volcano updates about the Kilauea. These updates are coming every morning. Right now this is still from Tuesday, June 10th, so from yesterday, but I might hit refresh and it might even get a new one. Not yet, but very soon probably there will be a new one. And this explains about the current status of the volcano, and it explains how the eruption was the last one, and how what can be expected and what's the forecast for the next episode. I will jump back to this later, but that's one of the first places you want to go to, volcano updates about the Kilauea. Then obviously one of the coolest thing is the webcams which are also on YouTube. There are 3 different cams. This is V1 cam as one of the best positioned one. You can see right there in the middle some degassing, and actually that's fresh lava from last night. There was no eruption, but there was lava coming out. Oh, that's cool. You can see some splattering of lava, and here to the left you can also see some lava. And let's see, this is the number 3 cam. Let's try to load it. Here we don't see that much, so actually the other camera view of this vent is the best. Okay, it's all refreshed, so no active lava happening, but you can see that the steam and the sulfur gas is leaving the vent. Now this would not be enough to decide should I go from Mexico to see this volcano or not. Do I have a chance? And this would even not help to see is there an imminent eruption now or not. So even if I would be in Hawaii, I don't know if I should camp out already at the overlook or not. So for that I need more information, and for that information we will jump to a little chart. This is of a tiltmeter, which is basically measuring a certain degree change. Actually it's much less than a degree change. It's in micro radians, how the ground is changing on the summit, and that can foreshadow an eruption. So basically pressure builds, it pushes up the ground a little bit, then there's an eruption, then the pressure drops, so the ground goes back down, and then the cycle starts again. Now, talking about cycles, one of the most important and unique characteristics of the Kilauea is this tendency to create relatively well-plannable cycles. It happened already 3 times in recorded history, once in the 60s, 69. You can see here when the pressure builds, the tilt builds, then with an eruption it drops. And eventually it forms some kind of pattern. The 69 one, it's obviously measuring was not that exact than it is now, but it seems that it wasn't that well plannable than this year's episodes. But then the real famous one, which had big lava fountains, the biggest lava fountains recorded happened in this one, which was actually starting in 83, lasting in 86, where Kilauea had a very, very well plannable eruption cycle and high fountains, so very similar to this one. But there the cycle in between inflation, pressure build, and eruption, pressure build and eruption was average of 3 to 4 weeks or a little bit more. Right now, the eruption started in December. There was a little bit of hectic activity until, as you can see, between January and February, a new relatively plannable cycle started where the pressure builds, then there is a fountain eruption. Pressure builds, there is a fountain eruption. And right now, it's about a week, 8 days max, the average in between eruptions. So the build up takes less than 10 days. There were only 2 episodes which were divided by a break by more than 12 days. And right now the forecast says that because they're like shorter interval clusters happening, that the ones happening now, the next one or the current one and the next one should be, as far as we know, with a shorter break. So this helped me to decide that, okay, on this trip or this time I will do the trip, because right now the eruptions follow each other in a short enough intervals. The fountains at this moment are getting taller and taller. So if I go there for 10-11 days, which was my maximum amount of time I could go, there is an about 90% chance that I will catch an eruption. So that was my base of planning, that the cycles are close enough, the fountains are getting taller, the weather is not too bad right now, so I should just go, because later on it definitely a possibility that the eruption style will change, so there will be no more fountains, but it can be just lava flows, it can be a constant flow, or the cycle can get interrupted. So as quick as possible I wanted to get there until the cycle seemed to be pretty reliable and short. Now I try to plan on catching possibly 2 eruptions just to raise my chances. Originally, USGS forecasted the eruption will be somewhere in between the 13th and 15th. So for me, arriving on the 14th was perfect, but that forecast got brought earlier and earlier until right now they're forecasting it today or latest tomorrow. So 11th or 12th, there should be an eruption. That means I will miss this one arriving on the 14th. But the earlier this one happens, the faster the countdown starts for the next one. And I have probably still a 90% chance with the current periodicity that I will catch the eruption. What we base on our predictions or plans, if we should go or not go to a certain lookout, or when we should plan a trip, then the best place to go is still on USGS website. It's an interactive map of Kilauea where all the measurements can be found nicely put together. It's an amazing resource. As we already mentioned, with the periodicity of the volcano, and to decide is it a good date or a good year to try to see a fountain eruption, the best predictor is the data from Tiltmeters. So here is a Tiltmeter next to the volcano, and you can see here the different data. You can choose 2 days, past month, or the past 3 months. Looking at the past 3 months, how we already talked about periodicity, you can see that they're nicely packed together, tight periods with pressure buildup, then big fountain eruptions. So the predicted activity is similar to this, but obviously it's a volcano, so you can predict it only a certain level. For example, if this next eruption will be an extended fountain, that it might be that the pressure goes so deep that the next buildup will be so long that, for example, in my period of being there, I won't be able to see another eruption. But if things are happening more or less how they happened the last month or 3, then I have a 90% chance to catch it. Also, I kept flights and everything somewhat flexible and changeable. So if the current eruption happens today or tomorrow, and right after I see that something is weird in the data, then I might change my flights and decide not to go now. But fingers crossed that it does not need to happen. So going back, let's see the last month. That's a pretty good one. So you can see these points where the eruptions happened every single time a little bit higher than before. Right now we are more or less at the same tilt than the last eruption happened. So from here, it's basically imminent and any moment can happen. Any serious volcano chasers will be already on the lookout, being prepared to stay there as long as it takes. You can also see that it was a steeper build-up curve, so it was a shorter period than the last one, and it's expected that the next one will be similar. If the next one is similar, I'm good. Now getting closer, and let's look at the last 2 days. It's a relatively steady pressure buildup with little dips. So obviously, because these dips can happen, you can't really know certain when the eruption will happen. USGS itself states that probably it will happen today or tomorrow, but they mentioned that it could have happened yesterday as well, because it can happen. Now, there's not only tiltmeters, there are other tiltmeters around, but there are other stuff out there as well. For example, seismometers, which are showing the seismic activity, the shakes happening, and you can here as well check 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, or 48 hours. I really like the 48-hour one. Here you can see this is just background noise like weather and things like that, but these clusters are shakes, which are probably because of lava moving already close to the surface. And as you can see, as we are getting closer till today, there is stronger activity. This one here is from last night, when and the day before, when there was proper lava activity at the surface but no fountaining. So it's not an eruption yet, but the lava started to flow out, and there was some pretty serious glow at night on the webcams. But you can see that there is no real wide, real thick blue appearing on this chart, where the shakes would be getting very intense and very close to each other, which is normally a sign that an eruption is imminent. There's a lot of lava moving under the surface, finding a way to erupt. So this is a normal view of a precursor event to an eruption, but still no sign of an imminent eruption. So now we've seen movement, we've seen tilt. There's also something as gas. So there are stations monitoring the amount of sulfur in the air, because with the more activity, more volcanic activity, more sulfur is released. And here it's possible to see that normally before eruptions, around eruptions, there is a heightened sulfur content in the air, but this is, I think, the least reliable one, because these sensors are a bit away, so they really depend on the wind as well, and actually wind we will need to talk a little bit as well. So these are the three most important data points. I think with tilt and the seismometer data, one can have a pretty good idea. But of course, other than monitoring this to try to guesstimate, because it's always going to be a guesstimate, even for scientists, it's harder than for us. Yeah, of course. It's just more to have fun and try to guess when the activity will happen. One will decide when to move, when the update, let's see if there's a new one. Yep, there's a new one. Now that's exciting. I didn't see this one. So current volcano alert level is watch. When they put it watch, that's basically an imminent eruption is coming soon, normally 2 to 3 days after this when the eruption happened. So when they put it watch, they change it from orange to watch. That means serious volcano chasers will go to the side where they want to see the eruption, and probably they stay there. I will talk about this a little bit later or another video. That's pretty serious. And then here it talks, episode 25 precursor activity began yesterday. Forecast window for episode 26 sustained lava fountain in between today, Wednesday, and Thursday, June 12th. So yeah, probably by June 12th, based on this estimate, the fountaining will happen. So the clock will be reset then. It's obviously going to be exciting to know how long that activity will. Let's look at the video. Okay, no new activity. I mean, there's some splattering and gases coming out, but no fountaining definitely. So this is what we more or less know about the volcano to plan a trip or decide when to start moving to the viewpoints. But there are other factors to think about as well. And one of the most important is the wind. Now, this is windy.com, easy to use the chart and see which direction the wind is. Right now, you can see that from Volcano Village, which is more or less where the caldera is here, the wind is blowing from northeast. And that's very important, because if you remember where the wind is blowing, you can choose the best overlook or the best view. Now this is the map on National Park Service's website of the area around the volcano or the caldera, and there are different overlooks from where you can see the fountaining safely. Kilauea is right here, this overlook. This is the most popular one. This is close to a big parking. You can get there from various sites relatively easily. But from here, you're 2.5 kilometers from the fountains, and you have more of a scenic look. It's not a very close one. Plus, if you remember, the wind is blowing from east to west. Right now, it's northeast. But if you get a proper east to west wind, then the wind might be blowing, well, the gases towards you, which is not helping with the experience. It can be dangerous, and obviously, if you want to film, that's also not helping. So there's another overlook here, Kianakakakoi, if I said it right. That might be the first time if I managed. This is the best overlook right now for this eruption. It's about 800 meters from the lava fountains, which can be more than 300 meter high. So just imagine the view from there. There is a mile-long hike to Devastation Trailhead, so this is only hiking. That also means less people will go there because you need to do a short but still real hike. So this will be the overlook you want to go unless wind changes significantly or unless new vents are opening. This is important because I will be staying in this campground right here, which is much closer to the further viewpoint, which can be a good fallback plan if for some reason I can't get there. Now, other important information is when you plan parking spots and when can you find parking spot and things like that, but that I will do another video how I will try to plan to monitor things and plan things and the strategy to try to get where I want to be and stay where I want to be. That's going to be a different video. So basically this is what I thought to share a little bit about what kind of information you need to have and need to know before you decide on a trip like this. And this is not something I'm telling because I have huge experience or not at all. This is because I did look on the internet, try to understand things, try to look at the charts and make the best possible guess I could to get the best possible chance I can. So now I have all this information, which I will have with me, part in my head and part obviously I need to recheck all the time and reevaluate based on the new information. And then I will share my worries, the barriers to get to the spots, the best spots, and how I try to mitigate these to get the best possible experience and hopefully awesome footage as well to share. So yeah, that's that. It's 3 days until my trip, probably less than a day until the next eruption, which I will be missing. That's fine, but fingers crossed that the next one I will be in the right place at the right time and ready and not completely destroyed and tired, so I can also enjoy it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a lot of talk, potential lot of information. In the description below, if it's a YouTube, or in comments if it's you're watching this on Facebook, I will be sharing the links to the stuff I shared here, so you can also read about it, understand a little bit. And if you feel like through my videos or my reports, you can also get excited and join into this little adventure trying to witness one of the biggest lava fountain in the world and potentially the best chance in my lifetime to do this. So why not to try it? Okay, that's that. See you in the next video. I hope this whole thing works out and it's not too boring. Bye-bye.